All right, today we're going to dive into the architecture behind modern web navigation. We're going to figure out why some websites you visit feel just instant and seamless, while others kind of lag and feel clunky. Turns out, it all comes down to a really big shift in how our browsers get from one page to another. So let's start with something we've all been through. You click a link, and for a split second, the whole screen flashes white as the entire page reloads. It's disruptive, it's slow, and you probably just lost your scroll position, right? Well, this isn't just a minor annoyance, it's actually a symptom of a much older, outdated way of navigating the web. To really understand why the new way is so much better, we first have to look at the root cause of the problem. And that cause is the humble, traditional HTML anchor tag, the good old A to A tag, which has been the absolute backbone of the web for decades. So when you click a standard A tag, it kicks off this destructive cycle. A brand new request gets sent, and your browser completely tears down the page you were just on. I mean, everything. The layout, your scroll position, anything you typed into a form, poof, it's gone. Then it has to rebuild the entire thing from scratch with the new information it gets back. The bottom line here is that this old method is just wasteful. It treats every single click like a completely separate event. It's stateless, meaning it has no memory of what came before it. It's kind of like having a conversation with someone who has no short-term memory, which is why it feels so inefficient for the dynamic web apps we use today. Okay, so enough about the problem, let's talk about the solution, which is this huge paradigm shift introduced by frameworks like Next.js. Instead of tearing the whole page down, we're going to surgically update it. And the hero of this new story is the link component. On the surface, the Next.js link component looks just like a regular link, but under the hood, it's a completely different animal. It actually intercepts your click, telling the browser, hey, hold on, I've got this. It stops that default destructive refresh and uses JavaScript to handle the page change, which means it preserves your state and only updates the little bits of the page that actually need to change. And when you put them side by side like this, the difference is just night and day. The A tag is for a full refresh, and it loses all your state, which is totally fine if you're linking to an external website. But the link component gives you a client-side navigation. It preserves your state, and it's highly optimized, which makes it the no-brainer choice for moving around inside your own application. Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? How does it make things feel so fast? Well, it has two secret weapons, or let's call them superpowers, that make it all possible. First step is automatic code splitting. Now, instead of sending you one giant JavaScript file for the entire website, Next.js is smart. It automatically breaks the code up into small page-specific chunks. So when you go to a page, you only download the code for that page, which makes that initial load time way, way faster. And here's what's really cool. This isn't just a performance trick. By keeping the code for each page separate, you get better fault tolerance. An error on, say, your settings page won't crash your dashboard. It makes the whole app more resilient and much easier for big teams to work on at the same time. All right, superpower number 2. This one is my favorite. It's called intelligent prefetching, and honestly, it's pretty close to magic. The framework is literally trying to read your mind and guess what you're going to do next. So how does it do it? Well, it's not actually magic, it's just really clever engineering. It uses a standard tool built right into your browser called the Intersection Observer API. As soon as a link scrolls onto the visible part of your screen, Next.js assumes, hey, there's a pretty good chance they might click that, and it quietly starts downloading the code for that page in the background, just in case. And the result is this incredible illusion of an instantaneous page load. By the time your cursor even gets to the link to click it, the next page is probably already downloaded and ready to go. It just feels seamless and super responsive, even if you're on a slower connection. Okay, so we've got this super fast navigation. What else can we do with it? Let's take a really common example, highlighting the active link in a menu to show the user exactly where they are on the site. Let's see how that works. So Next.js gives us a handy little tool for this called the usePathname hook. It's super simple. It just tells you what the current URL path is. But, and this is a really big but, it comes with a major catch. It can only be used inside something called a client component. And that catch gets to the very heart of how Next.js works. See, by default, its components are rendered on the server for max performance. And the server has absolutely no idea what the URL in your specific browser is. So to get browser-specific info like the URL path, you have to explicitly tell Next.js, hey, this little piece needs to be interactive and run in the browser. And you do that by just adding the useClient directive at the very top of the file. Okay, that was a lot. So let's boil it all down. If you're building a fast, modern web app, what are the golden rules you really need to remember from all this? It really just comes down to these three things. 1. For any navigation inside your own site, always use the link component. You get all those amazing speed and state benefits. 2. Save that regular old A tag for one thing and one thing only, linking out to a totally different website. And 3, be really deliberate about using useClient. Don't just sprinkle it everywhere. Only opt in when a component truly needs that client-side interactivity. You know, when you step back and look at it, this evolution from a simple link to an intelligent, predictive routing system is a massive leap forward. It really makes you wonder, right? If something as fundamental to the web as a link can be reinvented so dramatically, what other parts of the user experience are just waiting for a similar revolution? What's next?